I'll be back again. Dancers, we hope, time permitting, we'll invite them back to conclude that dancing steps. Thank you so very much. Now, I have the pleasure and honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Youth, Dr. Jamila Bao Ibrahim. She's a medical doctor, graduated from the University of Ilorin, immediate past SSA on SGG to the Governor of Kwara State. Honorable Minister.
Good afternoon. Excellency Dr. Ibrahim Alassane Mayaki, the former CEO of CAADP and chairman of the African Union Food Security Chairman of African Union Food Systems, my apologies. Distinguished senators here present, Her Excellency, Honorable Princess Gloria Akobundu, the National Coordinator and the CEO. I think after we've had lunch, the brain seems to be a bit slow. My apologies. Well, permit me to stand on already existing protocol. I stand before you, and before I begin, I must recognize the representatives of the governors, representatives of the honorable ministers here present, and the very, very hardworking state focal persons, because before my appointment as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, true to what Dr. Mayaki had said about Princess Gloria Akobundu, she's a woman who has made a lot of impact. And standing here before you, I am a living testament of such impact that Princess Gloria has made. She's been a strong pillar of support and inspiration as well for me as a young woman who was a state focal person of Outer Nepad in Kwara State. I mean, I just remember how Princess Gloria will almost tear down the doors that served as barriers for my progress in politics and development. Thank you very much, ma'am. Dear state focal persons, I would like to encourage you to keep doing what you do. Continue to push with all your heart. Put your heart in everything that you're given, every role that you're given to play, no matter how little or insignificant you might think it is. You just never know who's watching. And NEPAD and the SDGs and NEPAD had given me a platform to showcase and share my gift and talent to the world. And it's only a matter of time before someone also sees the hard work you have put into it. And also making reference to the national team, I want to reiterate the importance of teamwork just before I begin. Teamwork and collaboration. At the semifinals, we played as a team, united as a country, regardless of our geopolitical, wherever we came from. There were members of the national team from the different geopolitical zones of this country, and there were Muslims and Christians on that team, yet they played as one Nigerian team of the Super Eagles, and that gave them the victory that qualified them to make it to the finals. And I just want to urge us as Nigerians as well to take a cue from the national team and the team spirit that was demonstrated in the semifinals. And I believe it's only when we work as a team and united as Nigeria that we will actually attain sustainable development, and as Africans as well. Beyond just working together as countries, we need to continue to work to integrate our continent and build collaborations and linkages across board. I stand before you today deeply committed to the socio-economic advancement of our nation, Nigeria, and the prosperity of its people, particularly our vibrant youth population. As we gather here to discuss the implementation of the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, I am reminded of the critical role agriculture plays in our economy and the livelihood of millions of Nigerians, and the opportunity to key into the technical support and resource mobilization from the organizers of this program, the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, particularly NEPAD Nigeria. This high-level strategic engagement on climate change, food systems, and resource mobilization using the 4 investment programs: the human capital development, technology and innovation, regional integration, infrastructure and trade, natural resources, and food security, underscore the urgency and complexity of the challenges we face. Climate change poses a significant threat to our agricultural productivity, exacerbating food insecurity and threatening the sustainability of our natural resources. We are all aware, and as previous speakers have mentioned, that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on food security in Nigeria. And there's no better time to call for action and to scale all the interventions that our NEPAD, especially NEPAD Nigeria, has been embarking on in Nigeria. This is a time to scale and support all the activities of the agency. However, in the face of these challenges, we must also recognize the immense opportunities that lie ahead. The CAP framework provides us with a roadmap for transforming our agricultural sector, enhancing productivity, promoting resilience, and to ensure food security for all Nigerians. At the heart of this framework is the recognition of the critical role of our youth in driving agricultural innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainable development. True to, again, what the keynote speaker said, about the need for leadership. Clearly, the solutions to Nigeria and Africa's challenges are obvious, but what we need is transformational leadership. And from the 8-point agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I see a transformational leader in him. And I've always, especially during the campaigns and the general election, I've always prayed that he will be like the great Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, to us in Nigeria. As the Minister of Youth Development, I'm also committed to harnessing potential of our young people and empowering them to become key actors in transformation of our agricultural sector through targeted investments and youth education, training, and entrepreneurship. With that, we can unlock new opportunities, create jobs, and build a more inclusive and prosperous future for all young Nigerians. The collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Youth Development and the New Partnership for African Development on empowering young farmers for accelerated food security in Nigeria holds immense potential. By joining forces, these two entities can tackle the pressing issues of food security in the country while empowering and uplifting the youth population. Firstly, the collaboration can focus on providing comprehensive training and capacity building programs for young farmers to equip them with necessary knowledge and skills to engage in sustainable and modern farming practices. Such trainings may cover areas such as climate-smart agriculture, agribusiness management, innovative farming technologies, and ensuring the youth are updated with the latest advancements in the field. Secondly, joint initiatives can be launched to enhance access to finance for young farmers through the National Youth Development Bank initiative, and then through establishing, which will provide special loan schemes and grants that specifically target youth in agriculture. By bridging the financial gap, young farmers can invest in quality inputs, modern equipment, and infrastructure, ultimately increasing their productivity and contribution to food security. Moreover, collaborative efforts can focus on creating an enabling environment for young farmers. This entails advocating for favorable policies, facilitating access to land, improving market linkages, and promoting inclusive value chains. Young farmers would have better opportunities to thrive and contribute to food security in Nigeria if these challenges are resolved. Furthermore, the collaboration can leverage technology and innovation, such as creating platforms and networks that facilitate knowledge exchange, market information sharing, and mentorship opportunities in order to empower young farmers. Additionally, the utilization of digital tools, particularly mobile applications and online marketplaces, can enhance access to information and markets, while enabling young farmers make informed decisions and reach wider customer bases. Lastly, it is necessary and vital to ensure joint efforts in order to promote sustainable farming practices and environmental conservation. The collaboration can be in the area of advocacy for responsible land use, efficient water management, and the adoption of climate-smart agriculture techniques. Through prioritizing sustainability, young farmers can secure their livelihoods while contributing to increased food production and ultimately to the national food security. Well, before I conclude, I'd like to speak to the fact that Dr. Mayaki also reiterated and emphasized, rather, the importance of infrastructure development to achieve food security and development in Africa as a whole. Because without infrastructure, how do rural farmers gain access to market? How do they have standardized pricing systems and all of that? And how do people actually make a decent living from agriculture? Because the more we start to see agriculture as an enterprise, as a business that is very profitable, then the more we have more young people interested in agriculture. So, as one of our flagship initiatives at the Federal Ministry of Youth Development, we decided, and of course this also speaks to another point of the keynote speaker, where he mentioned emerging intermediate settlements, which are rather rural settlements or urban developments. So it's actually, I'm glad that our National Youth Development Framework has actually put into consideration the possibility of building sustainable cities for young people. So perhaps we could identify such intermediate settlements and leverage on them, see how we can improve infrastructure. And I've engaged with the Ministry of Works, the Federal Ministry of Works, and they have committed to support the project with infrastructure. And beyond that, we also intend to approach the Ministry of Power to see how we can, rub minds and provide alternative solutions, alternative power solutions. So these youth villages would be leveraging on commodities of comparative advantage across all geopolitical zones. And the economists these days say is not just comparative advantage, it has to also have competitive advantage. So we have that in mind as well. So if you look at this country, why I started with an analogy on the importance of national unity and using our super egos as a symbol of national unity is because we need to start looking at this country as geo-economic zones. It is only when we start to see each other as brothers and sisters and as business partners across the geopolitical zones that we will actually learn to collaborate more and look beyond our diversities of ethnicities and religious differences. Because today we're experiencing food insecurity in Nigeria, and food insecurity, poverty, and unemployment knows no religion and knows no tribe. So this is time. So it's time for every Nigerian to deeply reflect on the essence of being one and united Nigeria. For me, I dream of a Nigeria where, through our Youth Villages project, for instance, a Northwesterner would no longer see a Southeasterner as Inyamiri, and then the Southeasterner would no longer see a Northwesterner as an Aboki. Well, these are... because that can only happen if we leverage on commodities and trades and skills of comparative advantage while creating economic interdependencies across board. For instance, in the Northwest, we envision a Northwestern Nigeria that would improve and add value to cotton, right? Because we spend billions of dollars importing cotton, and that's only cotton that has been declared, textiles, and that's only textiles that have been declared at customs. You and I travel all the time. We smuggle in clothes and textiles, which we do not declare because we don't, we're not using for commercial purposes, but that also counts as part of our textile importation. So now, imagine in northern Nigeria where the cotton value chain, the leather value chain is developed, and then they have so much raw material to feed the Aba market and the cottage industries in the southeast. And imagine a Nigeria where we build trust and brotherhood between ourselves. And the Hausa man says to his Igbo brother, you can have the raw materials. When you add value to it, you can pay me back. That way, you've been able to feed and build trust and provide raw materials and foster national unity. I appeal to us to reflect deeply on these few words that I have said. And we have a mandate to build, to design a framework through public-private partnerships, because we understand that resources cannot do this alone, and that's why we've also identified Outer Nepad Nigeria and Outer Nepad Continental as our strategic partners to give us the technical support and the frameworks that we need in order to achieve implementation of this project. Because there's a lot of urgency. Nigeria's population of over 250 million people is largely a youth population of 70%. Right, so the urgency is now, and we have identified you as our strategic partner. In conclusion, I commend the African Union Development Agency once again for this thoughtful initiative. And I also would like to appreciate the African Union Development Agency for committing during the just concluded COP28 in Dubai, for committing to empower 1 million young Nigerians through agroforestry. Well, the Ministry of Youth Development is always honored to identify with such laudable initiatives of the NEPAD Nigeria. Let me seize this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to the principles of sustainability, resilience, and inclusivity in agriculture, and indeed all productive sectors that are a priority to the federal government of Nigeria. Let us harness the energy and creativity of our young people to drive meaningful change and build a brighter future for Nigeria. Together, we can transform our agricultural sector, mitigate the impacts of climate change, and ensure food security for generations to come. I thank you very much for listening.
Another round of applause for her. We saw a shining star. Barely 3 years ago, when she came on board as the focal point for Kwara State, representing the governor of Kwara State, on our meetings, severally, she identified herself, and she was very vocal, focused, very resilient, and always asking questions. So we saw that star rising up, and we therefore we're therefore not surprised that His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, accepted her nomination as the Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing the youths quite evocably and doing her work so well. You can see from the speech she made, standing in for the youths and all, making commitments to other NEPAD, national and continental, for collaboration and partnership. We want to wish her very well in her tenure. While that is done, I have the pleasure of inviting the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, ably represented here by Mr. Tanimo, Director of Policy Coordination of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, to come and make his brief remark. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Youth, the Chairman Senate Committee on NEFAD, other senators, the National Program Coordinator, NEPAD, the Head of African Union Food System, Honorable Commissioners, State Coordinators, Directors, members of the Diplomatic Corps, partners, civil society, media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I stand here to represent the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, who is unavoidably absent from this occasion. He would have wished to be here, but he is right now meeting with stakeholders on the next phase of the dry season farming for rice. So he asked me to represent him and place his apology for his inability to be here. Good afternoon. Now, Nigeria has land mass cover approximately of 923,800 square meters with over 7 distinct ecological zones endowed with diverse natural resources which play a vital role in the socio-economic development of the nation. Together, this constitutes the country's main mutual capital base. It is from these assets that the provision of food, water, wood, fiber, and industrial products and essential ecosystem services and functions are derived. This must be sustainably maintained in order to support the nation's increasing population now and in the future. Agriculture, including forestry, fisheries, and livestock, employs about 70% of the labor force and accounts for 24% GDP. Climate change impacts agriculture in various ways, which includes shift in precapitalization patterns and increased frequency of extreme temperature and weather events, as seen in increased frequency of flood and drought in the country. These changes can lead to shifts in growing seasons, affecting crop yields and quality, pest and disease manifestation in new areas. Thus, posing additional challenges for farmers. Additionally, changes in water availability and increased risks of drought or floods can further disrupt agricultural productivity and food security. Resources mobilization refers to the process of gathering and allocating necessary resources such as financial capital, human resources, technology, and materials to achieve a specific goal or objective. It is therefore very necessary to build a sustainable and resilient community and food system for the country. And the way to go now is the adoption of climate-smart agriculture. It integrates the three dimensions of sustainable development by jointly addressing food security and climate changes, which is composed of three main pillars. One, sustainably increasing agricultural productivity and incomes. Two, adapting and building resilience to climate change. Three, reducing or removing greenhouse gas emission where possible. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, working in line with African Union Development Agency, NEPAD mandate and the New Hope Agenda, it is important to build resilience and capacity of smallholder farmers and boost productivity, increase smallholder contribution to GDP, and boost economic growth. Create jobs by reducing unemployment, create wealth, curb youth restiveness, and promote climate-smart agriculture. Adaptation strategies, such as crop diversification and improved water management, are crucial to mitigate these effects. These strategies will not only help to increase the resilience of the sector, but also to attain agricultural pledge to reduce greenhouse gas emission as contained in the nationally determined contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, some strategies has been adopted and implemented by the ministry, which includes sustainable use of agricultural lands to discourage indiscriminate opening of land for agricultural activities, conservation agriculture, alternative sources of energy, which includes distribution of gas cylinders, and so on, posture management for livestock, post-harvest losses reduction through installation of solar cooling systems, construction of water harvesting structures. These are in alignment with the ministry's mandate and mentioned in the policy document, National Agriculture Resilience Framework and National Agriculture and Technology Innovation Plan. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, let me say this. On this note, I wish this August gathering a fruitful deliberation in fashioning out ways and of sharing sustainable food security in Nigeria and in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, representative of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Another round of applause for him. Next, we have the Director General, DSS, ably represented by Dr. Obibiso, to please come and make a short remark. She holds a PhD from the University of Ilorin and has been with DSS for over 2 decades. She's here representing gender and her office. Madam, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abang. The Honorable Minister, Youth, the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, the National Coordinator and CEO, AUDA NEPAD, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to adopt already established protocols. I bring you greetings from the Director General, State Services, Alhaji Y.M. Bichi, CFR, FWC, who would have loved to be here, but unfortunately, he is quite busy right now. The DG is delighted and committed to partnering with AUDA NEPAD. The CEO, Princess Gloria, is not just a friend of the service, she is a partner. Thank you for inviting us, ma'am. A lot have been said already. The Department of State Services was invited to speak on the security of farmers for food security in Nigeria. As have been said severally by most of the past speakers, because of the importance the nation places on food security, last year, the president declared state of emergency on the sector, indicating the priority of government. In defining food security, the Food and Agricultural Organization identified 4 dimensions of food security, and I will list them. They include food availability, food access stability, and food utilization, leading to nutritional outcome. These 4 pillars are anchored on national security, because without national security, we cannot achieve food security. A prominent American farmer, Joel Salatin, once said that the average person is still under the delusion that food should be somebody else's responsibility until we are ready to eat it. So we only think that food security is the responsibility of those who produce food. But the truth is that there are several stakeholders in the food security chain. That includes you and me. Government, community, consumers, investors, processors, practically everybody sitting in this hall belongs to the food security chain. However, farmers, according to the former American president, Thomas Jefferson, are the most valuable citizens. They are tied to their country. An attack on a farmer is an attack on a country. Unfortunately, like other countries across the world, Nigerian farmers are currently facing several challenges. So many have been listed already by the former speakers, but please permit me to mention a few of them. Farmers in Nigeria face issues of personal security, and these emanate from attacks by bandits, attacks by terrorists, header farmers' conflicts. They also have issues of physical security, lack of fencing of their farms, lack of infrastructure, as has been mentioned before now. We have issues of climate change, beginning with the encroaching desert. According to studies, desertification is traveling at a rate of 0.4 kilometers per annum, engulfing about 351,000 hectares every year. The same for flooding. Over 800,000 people in Nigeria are at risk of flooding every year. We also have issues of agro-terrorism, pest infestation, vector-borne diseases. In the last quarter of 2023 and now, Nigeria has recorded 46 different pest attacks, some of them strange to us. You will all recall recently when we had the issue of attack on ginger. Nigeria is one of the world's greatest producers of ginger, and Nigerian ginger is unique to us. Unfortunately, recently, ginger was attacked by pests. Some of these we suspect is actually agro-terrorism. So the farmer is facing a lot of these challenges. Now, what is the service doing? DSS, by its mandates, provides intelligence. So the provision of timely and accurate intelligence to sister security agencies on threats to farming belts across the country is one of the key things that we do. But beyond provision of intelligence, the service also deploys technology and manpower in monitoring of farm health, identification of mapping of pest infestation and vector-borne diseases to determine possible agro-terrorism. The service also tracks harvest and yield to enable government buy of surplus farm products for storage in strategic silos. Besides this, the DSS collaborates with stakeholders
in producing authentic and verifiable biometric data on farmers and farmlands to enable efficient distribution of farm inputs by government. We also conduct periodic engagement with stakeholders to avert and resolve incidents of farmer-herder conflicts. The service is deeply involved in community-based conflict mediation to improve farming. The service also collaborates with other security agencies to ensure the production of farmer input is increased. In spite of all that is being done, a lot still needs to be done. So the service seeks collaboration, like what we currently have with AUDA NEPAD. And possible areas of collaboration include collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, which we currently are doing, especially in provision of food aid and agricultural inputs. The service also seeks collaboration in the area of biotechnology with agencies, relevant agencies, to promote the adoption of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria to ensure that they are properly monitored. Several other things time would not permit me to say. And the service is open to collaborate with more agencies in ensuring that Nigeria has food security. Let me conclude with a quote from Chef Jose Andres, who said, "Food is national security. Food is economic security. It is employment security. It is energy security. It is history security. Food is everything. So we must take care of food security." Thank you very much.
Isn't it wonderful to hear how food security is national security, is environmental security?
This is representation by NEPAD. This one. No, say after the lunch.
And it is wonderful to hear Dr. Nka Obibisong deliver that with her heart in it. It is clear to me that she's very passionate about food security in Nigeria, as her Director General of the DSS has sent her, knowing her passion and her ability to deliver it from the top of the roof and speak about her nation like no other. One of the greatest things that you can have as a Nigerian is the passion for your country. That is something that I believe that every Nigerian should carry like a flag across their shoulder. I want to believe that the Director General DSS did not make a mistake by asking Dr. Nka Obibisong, Director Economic Intelligence of the DSS, to represent him. She has spoken well, and she has said that the stakeholders in food security include the DSS, who are constantly tracking weather reports, and then also brought us information about the pest attack on Nigeria's ginger. Would like to thank you so very much for such an intervention as that. Thank you. Very well done. It is at this point that I would like to ask that we take a project overview, presentation of the innovative strengthening of the smallholder farmers project, which would be delivered on behalf of Ms. Nados Thomas Bekele, who is the CEO, AUDA NEPAD Continental, by Engineer Ben. If Engineer Ben is in the room, I'd expect that he will be making his way to the podium at this time. Let's encourage him. Here's the project overview, presentation of the innovative strengthening of the smallholder farmers project. Thank you, Engineer Ben. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly observed. The technical team, can you please, all right, thank you. The second slide, please. Yes, on the second slide is just an overview, overview of the NEPAD history, of which what it tends to remind us is where we are coming from, giving us an institutional history of AUD NEPAD background regarding to where we are presently as the first African Union Development Agency. So on that context, we can see that NEPAD was established in 2001, of which as a secretariat in 2002, which was adopted as a program of the African Union, of which, before I proceed to this side, I must take this medium to recognize, in fact, the icon of excellence in terms of, that brought us to where we are right now, which is Excellency Dr. Ibrahim Mayaki. A round of applause for him, please. So going forward, in 2011, it was also integrated as a specialized implementation agency of the continent, and that takes us all the way to 2018 to 2019, when it was finally adopted as the AUDA, transforming from NEPAD to AUDA, which is the African Union Development Agency. So what is the mandate of AUDA? The small characters below is the mandate of AUDA, of which the mandate gives us what it takes to coordinate and execute both regional and continental priority projects to accelerate the realization of Agenda 2063, which is our main Bible, our main book that we are reading, and trying to use this as a tool to drive development across the Africa as a continent. So the part of the mandate as well, it gives us what it takes to provide knowledge-based advisory support to our member states, undertake full range of resource mobilization, of which that is the area that the AUDA is partnering with NEPAD Nigeria in terms of driving the innovative strengthening of smallholder farmer. So second slide, please. So on the second slide, just to let you know, under AUDA we have Directorate for Agriculture, Food Security, and Environmental Sustainability, of which my director is present here, with due respect, Director. Under AUDA, we have programs in terms that support food security. We have the agriculture, we have the food systems, we have also disaster risk management, we have the environmental sustainability, which is under environmental sustainability. We have the climate change, of which under that area going down, we also have the AFR 100, which is the African Forest Land Restoration Initiative, with the objective of restoring 100 million hectares of degraded landscape across the African continent by 2030. Just to also let we know that presently AFR 100 constitutes of 34 African nations, and we are looking forward to this year to move to 40 with the applications we have gotten so far. And the objective so far that is being set at 100 million have been surpassed. Presently, the commitment of countries presently is over 129.5 million hectares across the African continent. But that shows us the challenges that Africa is facing in terms of land degradation, which is also affecting food systems and agricultural productivity. So on the next slide, please. Next slide. Yes, this is a little bit overview of where we are in terms of mobilizing resources under the context OFR 100 to support project implementation across the continent. This is just a result overview of project resource mobilization as of 2022 and 2023, of which presently we are currently sitting at the 6 million USD that we receive currently which is the support coming from Swedish International Development Agency. Next slide. On the next slide is the overview of the innovative strengthening of smallholder farmer, of which this project is an FR100 initiative, which I've already stated, which is meant to improve and to drive and promote sustainable food security for economic growth while adjusting to an overall net increase of disasters such as COVID-19 and those caused by climate change, insecurity, unemployment. Just also let us know, remind us where we are coming from again, that this project, we started it in 2001 during the time of COVID when there is lockdown and it was difficult to make movement across Africa. But I also appreciate the leadership of AUD and Nepal within that time, that irrespective of the challenges, in fact, he gives us what it takes to ensure that support is being given to countries to strengthen their national systems, especially food systems, and also to supporting smallholder farmers, to ensuring that the supply chain of food were not cut off during that era. And if we are to count on the progress that were made, especially to Nigeria through this program, during the last dispensation of the past administration, we can be able to account that rural national food supply during that period, especially rice and beans. In fact, if you go to the value chain in terms of productivity, that means that the administration did very well through this program within that region. I appreciate, the support that is being given by this project by the present administration again to accelerate it up and to also use it to drive and strengthen national food system to meeting expectation of the country at large. Thank you. So the last slide, please. So on the last slide is mainly synergy and collaboration in terms of moving forward on this project. On this as well, the AUDA is posed in area of institutional coordination, of which that has been going on between the AUDA Nepal Continental, AUDA Nepal Nigeria, the Great Green Wall from the Ministry of Environment, and also the countries as well, the states as well, of which we have 22 states that is part of this project, of which that have committed to restoring the tune of 1 million hectares through this project. So those communications are still going on, and we are still keen again to keep engaging the country through AUD Nepal, Nigeria, whereby we can foster and strengthen implementation at the ground level. So we also have resource mobilization, of which we have stated that before. This program as well, we've seen the importance, as been mentioned here by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep, to bring it up to the limelight through Nepal, Nigeria, whereby this project, again, will be mainstream to strengthen national systems in terms of agricultural productivity and strengthen the capacity of smallholder farmers in Nigeria. So another area that is important to us, which you have noted while we are sitting here as well, is the Center of Excellence, sharing the knowledge to best practices that is coming out from this project, because we have gotten a lot of best practices, a lot of knowledge, that innovative knowledge that need to be, need to be spread, need to be communicated in terms of what is going on in Nigeria and how these result-based practices can be used to address countries that are in similar scenario in Africa, of which we have that communication going on between Nepal, Nigeria, and Democratic Republic of Congo, of which that communication is going on to learn from the best practices on this project coming from Nepal, Nigeria. So on that note, what we have here is what we tend to achieve at the grant level. At the grant level, we see the importance of using this project to solve both insecurity, create livelihood for the people, and also, also create food security at the rural level. So there are a lot of initiatives are going on in our project that we are carrying out to achieve this objective. We have also the blue economy. We have also disaster risk management, as I've mentioned. We also have the agriculture under agriculture, food security, and environmental sustainability, we have so many project activities that we have seen that is very important to bring the good practices that are coming up from this project to support the implementation of this project on the ground. Thank you.
Oftentimes, when you listen to project overviews, you're still trying to unpack the issues that are involved in them. But Engineer Ben has made our project overview so easy to follow. He has unpacked the issues that are on ground. He has looked at the areas that need pushing, and he has talked about strengthening national systems with the projects that are available, which will solve the insecurity problems, create livelihood for the people, and make sure there's food security for the nation. Also good practices, and particularly he mentioned the blue economy, where His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created a ministry for the blue economy to ensure that we leverage on our waters and the goods and the economies therein. Please give another round of applause to Engineer Ben for that really good project overview that he has delivered for our information. I'd like to quickly just recognize our development partners, Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, USAID, AGRA, Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, NERSAL, AFDB, NAIC, UNESCO, UNICEF, UNDP, UN Women, Action Aid, PropCom Plus, and DHA, IFDC, GICA, GIZ, COICA, World Bank, Bank of Agriculture, and ASE. I'd like us to give a round of applause to our development partners, because without them, we can't keep pushing. I'd like to salute and greet members of the National Assembly who have continued to remain with us, and all our very distinguished personalities who have stayed with us till this time. I believe that Dr. Abang has the next set of announcements for how we proceed, and would be informing us of how important it is for purposes of stomach security that we proceed to lunch at some point very soon. Dr. Abang.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Eugenia Abu. And then thank you once again for all the speakers, all the remarks, and all the dignitaries that have come to support this very noble goal of Auda Nepat, Nigeria, in conjunction with the Continental Office. Well, we've come thus far. Before I talk about the stomach infrastructure, while we were on, a very important dignitary walked in very quietly, as he has always been quiet. And of course, is no less a person than Honorable Rufus Adeniyi, who is a member of the House Committee on Cooperation and Integration in Africa and NEPAD. So you're most welcome. We acknowledge your presence and contribution, sir, to all that we are doing in this space. Well, I think lunch is served. As we took our part during the tea break, please, we do same. We are not closing for the day. We still have at least two items before we part today. So after lunch, we still have to come back and spend the next 30 minutes So please, lunch is served behind where you are sitting. So we should go for lunch and come back 30 minutes. Please come back. Please, sorry. Apologies, please come back. There's an amendment to the announcement. By popular demand and opinion, and by the okay.
Very sorry for that mix-up. Very distinguished participant, ladies and gentlemen. I think because we just had a tea break and we started a bit late, so that's why we had our tea break late. I don't know. We're of the opinion if we could take one or two presentations more, so that by the time we go for lunch, because the day is fast spent, by the time we take our lunch, we can close from there. Are we on the same page? So, and it won't take much time, probably another 2 hours. Then we have our lunch, relax and interact. But we still have tomorrow, maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes. No, we're not going to take much time, because we have some development partners here that would like to make one or two. I think Assistant D is here, even though we can adjust those programs. Yeah, so please,
Yeah. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the National Coordinator and CEO of NEPAD Nigeria, for that brief intervention, which was a popular opinion. Anyhow, please, I have the honor and privilege of inviting the Honorable Member Committee on NEPAD, Honorable Rufus Adeniji, to please make his presentation. Honorable Member, sir.
Thank you very much. No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Let me say to the Honorable Princess, Gloria Akobundo, FSI, National Coordinator and CEO of AODA NEPAD, Nigeria. I'm a senior colleague, the distinguished Senator, Senator Nasru Sani Daura, Chairman House Committee on Integration and Cooperation, NEPAD. Dr. Mayaki, thank you very much. I've heard your name severally. I want to stand on the existing protocol. I am Air Vice Marshal Joao, retired, and I'm a member, House of Representatives, representing the good people of Ekiti South Federal Constituency 1. I'm from Ekiti State. I stand here this afternoon. I stand here this afternoon representing my Chairman Committee, House Committee on Cooperation and Integration, Africa NEPAD, Right Honorable Wamati Lauri. And I'm here to deliver a speech to this August occasion. He says, it is my esteemed privilege to be part of this high-level strategic engagement session organized by the African Union Development Agency, AODA NEPAD, for generation of strategic plans and resource mobilization towards the mitigation of climate change impact and ensuring food security in Nigeria and the African continent as a whole. This event coming at this time when His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of Federal Republic, has declared a state of emergency on food security in Nigeria is more than a welcome development, as it stands to significantly contribute towards the achievement of food sufficiency in Nigeria. The dual challenges of famine and insecurity orchestrated by the harsh impact of climate change has become so real and clear that leaders and key stakeholders can no longer afford to fold their hands and watch the imminent calamity that is gradually sweeping through the continent of Africa and the entire world. The incessant clashes between herdsmen and farmers for grazing and farming space in Nigeria can be traced directly or indirectly to the impact of climate change in the continent, as we can see in the fast encroachment of Sahara Desert and drying up of the Lake Chad Basin. As a leading and vocal member of African Union and other international organizations, Nigeria must speak out, call for support, and take the necessary steps and policies that will ensure food security in our country and in Africa as a whole. As the African Union Development Agency, that's UDAD NEPAD, is leveraging in the partnership and collaboration with development partners and other key stakeholders to generate support for their projects and programs in Nigeria, we must also rise up to give the agency the necessary support if we really want to achieve food sufficiency in our country and in the entire continent of Africa. Nigeria can equally leverage on the agency's technical support to unlock and develop the economic potentials of our vast arable land and marine domains to promote climate-smart agriculture, which can help to create jobs for our teeming youths, boost our economic growth, and create wealth for our people. The Committee on Cooperation and Integration in Africa, NEPAD, has given significant attention to the African Union Agenda 2063 in the 2024 appropriation. The committee has also given special attention to the mainstream African Union comprehensive agricultural development in Africa for sustainable agriculture, food system resilience, and improved livelihood. As the chairman of the House Committee on Cooperation and Integration in Africa, NEPAD, I want to assure you that the committee will not relent to give the necessary legislative support on policies and programs aimed at mitigating the harsh impact of climate change, guaranteeing food security, boosting the economic growth of our nation and the continent of Africa at large. I have no doubt by the end of this program, strategic resolution and commitment will be reached to empower the African Union Development Agency, that's AUDA NEPAD, to effectively execute its project and program. Finally, I wish us fruitful deliberations. Thank God and God bless you. That's my chairman's speech. On my own side, I want to say, Madam, please keep up the good work. We appreciate you for what you're doing, and we can tell you this, that with this, I think we are moving somewhere, and Africa will continue to develop. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Another round of applause for him. Politicians know what they want and they know where they are going. So when they speak, they have something in front they are looking after. Well, distinguished invitees, I have the honor of inviting a representative of the AUDA NEPAD Continental, Estarine Photobong, to please come and give us a paper on methodologies for effective resource mobilization for improved agricultural investment, food systems in Nigeria. She has been here earlier on. She's the Director, Agriculture, Food Systems, and Environmental Sustainability in AUDA NEPAD Continental Office in South Africa. Madam, you're welcome.
if may. Good afternoon. I will try to keep it at 5 so I don't keep us from our food security. Again, let me stand on the protocols that have already been established. But as I will like to specifically recognize Dr. Ibrahim Asane Mayaki, the AU Special Envoy for Food Systems, and of course my former boss. So anything I say here, if I don't say it right, please attribute it to him. But I think I will try my best because he was an absolutely brilliant mentor and teacher and big brother. And my sister as well, Princess, as I mentioned earlier, you've been a pillar of support to the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD Continental, and the partnership that we have with NEPAD Nigeria is one that other AU member states are trying to replicate because we have practical implementation here in Nigeria. It's not all about just, of course, we can make a lot of presentations and academic discourse, but the proof is when the bullet hits the road, it's on implementation. It's on implementation, because that's the only way we can change the life of our people. And how do we get to implementation? You know, Africa's food systems are at a crossroads, coupled with a variety of challenges, including climate change, environmental degradation, low adoption of new technologies, a growing energy deficit. Of course, all of this amidst the rising resource scarcity and limited financial resources. A myriad of issues that our countries have to address. And so decisions have to be made within a tight fiscal space. That means, as Dr. Mayaki eloquently said earlier, and all previous speakers, the importance of partnerships is critical if we want to attain food system transformation in the continent. The Comprehensive Agricultural Development Program, CAADP, biannual report for 2019-2021 of the African Union shows that the continent is not on track to achieve its aim of eradicating hunger by 2025 due to crop failure, and for 4 consecutive dry seasons, over 20 million people, including at least 10 million children in Africa, had acute food shortages in 2022. This is a cause of concern because if we are still having this kind of numbers, then it means we're not doing nearly enough in terms of policies, in terms of investments. We need to scale things up. Moreover, projections by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa points Africa's annual food import increasing significantly by a factor of 7 from $15 billion in 2018 to $100 billion in 2025. Again, I think somebody made reference to these figures earlier to say it means there is a market. If we are importing all of these goods, there is a market in the continent. So why are we not producing to feed that market? That's the question that we need to ask. Are the opportunities not there? Do investors know the potential that they have in our countries? Are we selling the opportunities in our regions well enough to investors so that they can come and invest? Those are the questions that we should be asking. And then what can we do to make sure that the opportunities that we have, for instance, I'm happy to see all the governors here. A platform where opportunities in your respective states can be presented is really important so that we can attract the necessary kind of investments that are needed. What do we then have to do? There's the need for this constant analysis of the trends and situation around food system transformation. Managing food system transformation involves transitioning a food economy from low productivity and labor-intensive economic activities to higher productivity and skill-intensive activities. The challenge in finding the right balance of understanding institutional capacity and government involvement in the food system. Are we doing too much or are we doing too little? Is the question that governments have to reflect on. Are the policies encouraging investments in the food systems, or are the policies that our governments are putting are discouraging investments in the food systems? These are points for reflections, and opportunities like this gives us the chance to interrogate these questions, and I think we have heard eloquently from the previous speakers on some of these points. A core mission of NEPAD, AUD and NEPAD Continental Food System Program focuses on building institutional capacity of member states to manage structural transformation in a way that depolitizes the food system. And my sister, the Minister of Youth, spoke quite well about depoliticizing such important issues like attaining food sovereignty, food security for our continent and for our people. Bringing everyone to work together to attain these important points. AUD and NEPAD Continental mandate reflects the mandate of AUD and NEPAD Nigeria. So the issues of supporting resource mobilization, implementing strategic programs that are critical mandates for AUD and NEPAD Continental are also critical mandates for AUD and NEPAD Nigeria. And it's really, really, really encouraging to see all the states coordinators that are here because implementation is at grassroots level. We are not going to, of course, we need the policies coming from a federal level to be able to create enabling conditions, but the actions to change lives are done at the level of the communities. So it's really, really encouraging to see all the focal points here. So that brings me then to the point earlier that Senator Nasiru mentioned that he really underscored how Nigeria government is massively investing in agriculture as part of the implementation of CAADP. This year, we are celebrating 20 years of CAADP implementation. Next year, we are going to have a new framework that continues the implementation of CAADP, building from what was Maputo and then Malabo, that expanded the scope of CAADP to include issues of food systems. And we are having, throughout this year, under the able leadership of Dr. Mayaki as the special envoy, reflections on how we have performed the last 20 years. And that reflection is going to inform the new framework post Malabo framework for CAADP implementation. Critical to that reflections and things that are coming out is that we had not sufficiently involved the private sector in the whole agribusiness transformation environment. We need to do more in terms of encouraging policies that will bring more private sector investments into our country. So for AUD and NEPAD Continental, working together with the different AUD offices, including AUD NEPAD Nigeria, there are 3 critical areas that we are looking into post-Malabo framework. One is the policy environment, to make sure that conditions are there for farmers to be able to produce efficiently, for farmers to be able to access capital, for farmers to be able to access markets, and for investors to be able to come in and support right across the value chain the transformation of the agricultural systems in our countries. The second area that we are focusing on is, of course, investments. Why we are saying the reports are showing that we have not made the kind of change that we would have loved to see in the agri-food system is because we have not attracted sufficient investments at different levels. As I mentioned before, we need more domestic resource mobilization going into CAADP, going into agriculture, because one of the principal objectives of CAADP was for governments to put 10% of their national budget into agriculture. Not many countries have attained this. The second level is to attract more private sector investments into the agricultural food system in our countries. And lastly, the third point is partnerships. Partnerships, because this is a multi-sector, multi-stakeholder environment that we are dealing with. We cannot, the Ministry of Agriculture alone cannot assure transformation. You need Ministry of Infrastructure, Ministry of Agriculture, Education, Ministry of Scientific Research, and the whole gamut of it. So it has to be a multi-ministerial approach to delivery food system transformation in our countries. We also, and again, it's really pleasing to see the invitees here today, that they are coming from across sectors. This is the kind of stakeholder collaboration that is needed. Partnership with development partners for resources is critical, and partnership with the farmers themselves. These are the people doing the job, so we need to support them by creating those conditions for them to do so. Lastly, we are looking at transformation within the space where resources seem to be, and I emphasize the word seem to be, constrained. But if we look at the gamut of opportunities that are there and make the information available to the different actors, then I think we can get the necessary investments that we need. I see quite a few of our development partners here. The traditional collaboration with development partners will continue to be important, but Africa has to take advantage of other opportunities. We have the resources, the land, the water, the minerals that are there to transform our agricultural sector. We need to create the opportunities for private sector to come in and invest. We need to take opportunity and advantage on the different global financing windows that are there, like the Green Climate Fund, the carbon markets, is one new area, but Africa has not benefited much from it. AUD and NEPAD just released a publication that showed the state of carbon markets in Africa. We want to change that. We want to see that more resources from carbon trading comes to the continent and goes to the communities to benefit from carbon markets. So we are establishing an African gold standard that we guide carbon trading in the continent. So there are different windows, and as AUD NEPAD Continental, we will be working with Princess Gloria, CEO of NEPAD Nigeria, to make sure that we explore all these different windows of financing so that the people of Nigeria can benefit and we can see a transformation in the agricultural sector. Thank you so much for listening.
Indeed, there are different global financial windows that can be leveraged upon to transform this all-important area of field to ensure food security in Nigeria and in Africa. The Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, CAADP, is an initiative of the African Union aimed at promoting agricultural development across the continent and focuses on increasing agricultural productivity, improving food security, promoting rural development, and ensuring sustainable management of natural resources. You have heard from our last speaker, Estherine Fatabung, Director, Agriculture, Food System, and Environmental Sustainability. And she has been talking about how important it is, as far as she and statistics show, CAADP is slightly short, and there must be fast tracking of CAADP, and they're here to coordinate and support and provide those global financial windows. There must be leveraging opportunities and providing enough information, and there must be a drive of investment for domestic resource mobilization. Let's hear another round of applause for Estherine Fatabung. Thank you very much indeed. We have heard many organizations and many speakers here, including the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, say, we are here to partner with you. We are here to help to push this agenda. And I want to believe that the star of today is indeed the CEO and National Coordinator of Auda NEPAD, Princess Akubuno, who has galvanized all of us into the room. Let's hear a round of applause for our chief host. I'd like at this point to quickly recognize, welcome, and greet the representative of the Adamawa State Governor, Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, Professor Jatau. I'd like to welcome you. Welcome. I'd like to welcome the representative of the Bauchi State Governor, Professor Simon Madugu Yalams, Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture. I'd like to greet and welcome the representative of the Cross River State Governor, who is also here with us. Please wave where you are. Thank you very much. And as the names continue to join us here, you must forgive our gaps if we have not recognized. I see that a lot of governors have been represented here today, and I'm going to ask that we get your name so I do it properly and I just don't introduce you. So representative of all governors here present, generically, we greet and salute you. Please give them a round of applause. They've been very patient. And as I begin to get the names up here before we close, we will ensure that we have your names up on the podium. At this point, I have been instructed to take general comments. We'll start with two women. We're gender sensitive. Princess Akobundo is in the room to back us up. Distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe is here to back us up. And therefore, we'll start with two women, and then we'll go to two men, and we'll see how that goes. General comments in the House, please keep it short. Let us hear your name and the organization you represent, and then from then on, we can take your comments, or maybe even your questions. But let us start with two women. The ladies in the House, don't fall my hand. Do we have, media, do we have a free-range mic that can go around, or there are mics on the table where they can punch? All right, I see two women already. Yes, I see you in red. And then I see you at the back there. And we'll come back in the other cycle. We'll keep it quick because although we've gone to tea, there are people on medication and they may want to have something to eat sooner than later. So let's start with you. Please introduce yourself. Let us know your name, the organization you work for, and then you can take your comment real quick. Keep it short. We'll try not to do 3 bullet points. We'll keep it at 1. So that we can give the opportunity to other people to speak. Thank you. Let's go.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocol duly observed. My name is Blessing Ahile. I work with ActionAid Nigeria. It's been an insightful presentation. One contribution we want to make is the issue of recharging the Lake Chad Basin. We know that the recharge basin is falling short of, I think it's at its 25% as it is. Channeling investments towards recharge basin will help a lot to tackle the issues of climate change, and about 30 to $50 billion is required. So for ActionAid, we're already engaging at the global level to see how we get funding, Nigeria and the countries within the Lake Chad Basin, to get funding to recharge the recharge basin. And that will help to increase food security, and also create employment, and even address the issues of insecurity in the country. So there's need for investment, channeling it towards that project. We're not talking about loans, we're talking about partnerships with development partners through bonds, and explore other ways of investment, so that we'll get serious and eradicate poverty through food production. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. ActionAid has spoken, and this is about the Lake Chad Basin. And because I have some knowledge on the blue economy, I know that it's a question of struggling for resources around the Lake Chad Basin that is causing all kinds of problems, including all the things you hear about hijacking of ships at the Gulf of Guinea region. So I'm quite aware of that, and I know that $30 to $50 billion to settle that area of field requires a collaboration, as you heard from the last speaker, and partnerships, and it's good that ActionAid is doing some work in that area. Well done. Next speaker.
My name is
We're taking the women first, sir.
Yes,
VC,
please.
we're taking the women first. Forgive us.
My name is Mrs. Ifeoma Anyanwu, the Deputy Director that is in charge of the gender agenda in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Mine is, Nigeria has repositioned agriculture not only as a business, but equally as a development agenda. If we want to ensure that agriculture becomes the engine room of economic growth and development, the challenges women face in agriculture has to be addressed. And if we are saying, yes, agriculture is seen as a business, addressing the Sustainable Development Goal number 9, that is predicated on innovation, industrialization, tractorization. And the question is, where is the place of women? Women need women-friendly technology to reduce drudgery, to equally enhance and empower them, in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, that is premised on empowerment of all women, empowerment of all girls, with the mantra of leaving no one behind. One more question is, we have been talking about pouring encomium on smallholder farmers, What is the sex of these smallholder farmers that are feeding the nation? Can we name them? Are they men or women? The smallholder farmers that are contributing immensely to the food sustainability of Nigeria and even most of African countries are women. And therefore, we need to address the unequal gender power relations in agricultural sector, because agricultural sector does not only have an economic perspective, it has a security imperative, because any country that is secured in terms of food security is relatively secure. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. The gender agenda. And distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe is clapping very loudly because this is her area of field. How many women are farming potatoes in Plateau? How many women are smallholder farmers? What is the statistics? What is the data aggregation? How do we know that it is men more than women? And how do we support the women who, by the way, are always at the bottom of the ladder and usually do not have enough funds to get out there and do what they need to do? We want to thank you for bringing the gender agenda to the table. Now, Professor Chikeze, it's time for you to speak. Let's try and keep it short so that we can give other people a window. Thank you, Prof. It's over to you.
Thank you, the moderator. My worry is about how to catch people young. I'm a Vice Chancellor of the University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. And in his magnanimity, my governor gave 50% off the fees for those studying agriculture. Yet, our children has refused to get admitted into that program. How do we reorientate them? Yet we are all hungry. Somebody talked about, I think the moderator talked about food infrastructure. All of us want to eat morning, afternoon, night. Yet we refuse our children to go and study the technicalities of production of this food. What is the government doing at the larger level, at the national level, at the African level, to reorientate our children to study this program, this course, this thing that gives us food, so that tomorrow we won't go begging. And any nation that cannot feed itself is a beggarly nation. Nigeria, I would say, is a beggarly nation because we cannot feed ourselves. So my take here is that NEPAD or AU should do something to reorientate our children, reorientate all of us to go back to the farm, because that's where our lives rely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. How are the youth being encouraged? And I believe that Princess Akupundo paid attention to that intervention. How do you make agriculture sexy for younger people? And I watched a young lady from Zimbabwe who said to the World Bank, can you take a look at the picture on the cover of your program? Does it indicate that young people want to come when you show farmers without shoes, looking poor and haggard? We're not going to come. Why don't you put me on the cover of your program? So we do need to make agriculture more sexy so that younger people can join in the field. I see the gentleman in the black suit in the back. Yes, please, go ahead. Absolutely. It's you.
Okay. All protocol duly observed. I'm Dr. Prince Michael Unkwabwo. I'm the state focal person, Aoda NEPAD, Cross River State. For us as a state and as a people, Cross River State is of interest not just to Nigeria but the world, because we currently host one of the 25 top biodiversity hotspots in the world. And then we'll have the largest rainforest in the country and in West Africa. But because of the repeated farming of particular portions of land, every year our farmers move and they fell forests to have more fertile soil for them to grow their crops. So as a state, we have actually made several projections that were really interested in partnering with Aoda NEPAD to ensure that we achieve food sufficiency, address the issue of food security, as well as provide jobs for our teeming youth. Because over 60% of our economy is driven by the agricultural sector. In the area of resource mobilization, in order to address climate change, His Excellency the Governor of Cross River State, through a proposition that was presented directly from my office, made approval for us to carry out carbon credit-related projects. I'm very excited that in August, after this approval was made by His Excellency, the President also set up a carbon activation plan for the country. Now, I am excited that the representative, Mrs. Esther Reen, who spoke about resource mobilization through carbon credit. We are interested as a state because His Excellency has also worked out modalities to ensure that in 2024 and to 2025, we can sequester over 1 million tons of carbon. But we also want to be guided so that we can get certification for the carbon credit we're creating and possibly create a market for this carbon credit we're generating to be auctioned. I also believe that the carbon credit market is one area that we can actually utilize to not just mobilize resources, but to address the issue of climate change, while also providing food for our people and our country. I know that the EU in 2023 budgeted over $8 billion in the area of carbon credit. That is one area that states and our country, Nigeria, can actually key into. And our state have also set a base where we can actually float and use it as a template for the country and the continent. Thank you very much for all what you've been doing, and we're really interested in partnering with you to ensure that all of what you're doing and your mandate and initiative is actually achieved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Carbon credit, carbon market, as spoken earlier by our last speaker who presented a keynote. I believe Princess Akubundo's responsibility in gathering us all here, and part of her aims and objectives for this strategic engagement is so that networking can take place and cross-fertilization can take place across states to enhance Nigeria and indeed to enhance Africa. We'll take two more comments, one from a woman and one from a man. I have them already, one here and one there. But before we go there, let me quickly introduce the representative of the Enugu State Governor, the Honorable Patrick Nwabweze Ubru, Ministry of Agriculture and Agro-Industrialization is here, representing the Enugu State Governor. Please, let's see by a show of your hands, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Honorable Samson Bugama, representing Governor of Plateau State. Let's see by a show of your hands. We appreciate your presence. Professor Nicholas Namison, representing Governor of Taraba State, is the Commissioner for Agriculture. There he is. Shehu Muazu, Commissioner for Agriculture, representing Kebbi State, is here with us. And Honorable Barrister George Oyefia, representing the Governor of Delta State, is here. And much earlier, again, I recognize Honorable Johnson Eboko, Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, representing Cross River State. We truly thank you all for staying the tide and joining us for this moment. We'll take the man first this time. We'll cede to them for this moment only, and then we'll take the lady with the green veil next. So, the gentleman. Yes, sir. Honorable Commissioner.
Thank you very much. My question is on, comment or rather question is on development of value chains and how it relates to food security. Discovered that in some parts of Nigeria, and particularly in the north, we have value chains like Acha Fonio, which its value is known almost internationally. We have Bambara nuts, tiger nuts, sesame, turmeric, soybeans, and the rest of them. And yet, you discover that they have not been fully developed, and they are not known, and they are not quite accepted in the international market. So what or how can other NEPAT really come in here to assist with these products so that they can get acceptability at the international markets? Thank you.
Acceptability and international mileage for local produce like Bambara nuts, and that's coming from the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture in Bauchi State, Princess Akubundu. Keep your eye on the ball. They want NEPAD to help promote that, correct? So that is what Princess Akubundu and her team will be looking out for when they have a conversation with you over lunch and on to the next couple of days. Olatundu Adelagon, Jari Handelberg, Antti Paloma, and Marco Nimwen, development partners from Finland. Please raise your hands. Let's give them a round of applause for coming. We see you, we thank you, we appreciate you. Brian Stevenson Mariam, development partner from Kenya. There she is, Abariako. Abariako, you don't speak any Swahili. You should begin to practice. You can't live in Kenya and not speak it. Welcome, Mariam Stevenson. We thank you so very much for joining us from Kenya, development partners from Kenya. And now we take our last speaker for the afternoon before we go to lunch. Madam, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, my sister Eugenia Abu, for giving me the opportunity. My name is Habiba Ibrahim from the National Agency for the Great Green Wall. Please permit me to stand or sit on already established protocols. I would want to add my voice to issues raised, especially regarding the topic at hand. which is innovative strengthening of smallholder farmers project. My sister from the Ministry of Agric has raised an issue regarding women inclusiveness in this issue. And my brother, the commissioner from Bauchi State, also raised the issue of value chain. I'm going to base my own contributions on comments on these issues coming from the environment background. We're talking about boosting agriculture, but I would want us to also pay attention to the issue of land degradation. The land is already degraded. We're having, especially in the 11 states where my agency is working, we're having issues of drought, flooding, desertification, and drought, sometimes sun and dust storms. What are the drivers of all these things? Farming is one of them. The land is already exhausted. We cannot practice agriculture on already unproductive lands. We need to bring the land back to its former glory. That is the issue of restoration. And we can do that through the teeming women population abandoned in the communities where we are working. The farmers comes from the communities, not really from the cities. The farmers have, the ladies in the communities have a huge number. We can develop their capacity. We can do restoration issues with them, especially by addressing the value chain my brother raised. When we engage maybe on other productive aspects of agriculture, like say the value chains from the Bambara nodes that have key potentials in addressing land degradation, or sometimes even the trees. If we practice agroforestry, if we plant a few trees, make the woman plant, let's say moringa, zogale, there's a lot of value chains from the zogale, and she can earn a living, she can earn more, she can gain more livelihood issues, and by extension also pay attention to these nutrition issues we are trying to fight. So my own take is let Audane part with all of us here present, or the partners here present, pay attention to the women issues in an attempt to develop the value chain that will help us to address the issue at hand, especially in addressing land degradation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much indeed. Desertification and degradation of the land is already with us. We can get women to do some restoration because you cannot grow anything if you don't do some agroforestry. And so planting trees is also part of the issue. We would like to really, really thank you and thank all those who have spoken. I'll quickly make a note of those whose names have reached me on this table. Malam Murtala Dabo, Commissioner for Agriculture, Kaduna State is here. Please show your hand. Thank you. Dr. Mrs. Esther Ibrahim is here. Where is she? There you are. And Dr. Thomas Arokoyo, Agra, Nigeria. At this point in time, I'd like to invite Princess Grace Akobondo to warehouse the comments that you have all made as she prepares for tomorrow's very engaging session that would require that all of us bring our brains to the table and help her to push forward the agenda. There you go.
Thank you very much. Without taking much of your time, I think good points has been made here. Gender involvement, young people motivation to study agriculture and food processing, resource mobilization through carbon credit, food value chain, and then the beautiful observation by Greg Greenwald, land degradation. With these points that has been mentioned, we have institutes, we have partners and development partners who are going to comment on these points being made here today. And I will urge all of us to be here early tomorrow because there will be lots and lots of presentations and way forward for this project. Like our previous speakers said, the action is now. This is like action meeting. After this meeting, we'll start implementation to our various communities or states. So it will be good you make yourself available to get clearance from some of these where you can align your project or your state, the right partner to work with, or development partners or investors that are here that will be making presentations tomorrow. You can partner with to implement some of these projects. For example, the carbon credit project, ASC, African School of Economics, who are great partners, will be speaking on this tomorrow. And they have access to carbon credit markets and are also mobilizing resources from carbon credit. And we have the Finland delegation that are going to also speak to us on possible food processing zone and access to market. We also have the professor from University of Agriculture from Imo State. He's also going to speak to us tomorrow on institutionalization, domestication, possible domestication of this project, training, and among others. We also have our partners and Alda Nepad Continental, who are also going to guide us on collaboration on resource mobilization, because they've been our great partners in this project. So all of these people are going to speak tomorrow, and they will make presentations. So it's possible for you to see the right partner to work with. We also have our partner from India, from Dubai. All the way from Dubai, they are here. And they're also going to speak, and they're a heavy investor in this project too. So the state commissioners, state coordinators, and also ministries and other agencies here, it will be nice. Even the legislators, though we've taken much of your time today, but tomorrow I understand you're sitting, but it will also be good you coming here tomorrow to see. And also, most likely, we'll have our Vice President grace this occasion tomorrow. Because of football, like I said, they didn't come in early, and we're trying to also survive from the shock of not bringing the trophy. So, but nevertheless, we've done very well today. We should please clap for ourselves. We've done very, very well. You know, there could never have been a time or a moment like this, honestly, in the history of our country and our continent at large, where every corner of the country and the continent is yelling for food, you know, and I think we're on the right track, like our leaders said before they left the hall. And the time is now to work, do the work more than the talking. And that's the reason why we're here. Like we call it high-level engagement, strategic engagement for resource mobilization, food systems, and climate change. So by tomorrow, we'll have lots of our governors too, who has also sent in their information to us that they will be here tomorrow. So it will be good we come early as 10 o'clock tomorrow, so that we'll start early and ensure that we achieve the objective of this meeting. I think with this little point, I think it's clear to us that we'll have a lot to gain from tomorrow's meeting. So I thank you for making time to be here. I'm not just giving the closing remark. The Director, Program Development and Implementation of NEPAD Nigeria will be coming to make the closing remark. But thank you. I just have to thank you, Your Excellencies, very distinguished senators, House of Representative members here, especially from the Committee of NEPAD, our leaders, our friends, the diplomatic community, all of us, the civil society. Thank you, gentlemen of the press. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you for making time to be here, and all the way since morning to this time. And I believe we've picked some points that will enhance our development goals. Thank you. While we expect the director, please come and make your remarks. I'm not taking over from you.
Thank you very much, NC CEO. A round of applause for her. She won't come back to this podium again this evening. And I want to thank you very much. While the representative of Outer NEPAD Nigeria, the Deputy Director, Programs Development and Implementation Department of Outer NEPAD will give the closing remarks, which of course the CEO has done, but he has to sound satisfied.
The Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Minister of Youth Development, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Cooperation and Integration, and Outer NEPAD, state governors, honorable commissioners that are here, honorable members, Outer NEPAD Continental, and all development partners, and members of the press. I am delighted to be part of this important gathering of intellectuals, experts on climate change, that we could all leave our normal engagements and busy schedules to come here today to discuss the issue of food security. Shows the new dimension and the challenge this is posing not only to Nigeria, but to Africa. So, and today, many of the experts and all those who have spoken have done a great job today. They have made their contributions, and today was quite engaging. So, and I believe that those of us who are new to climate change and food security must have learned a lot today. So the issue of food security is something now that every government has to take very important, whether state government, local government, in fact, under the grassroots level, is something that we really have to take very important. I'm glad that a lot has been said and solutions profiled by all the wonderful speakers. The major challenge, however, is resource mobilization, which I think all of us here will have to tackle head on. So on behalf of the CEO, Outer NEPAD, Princess Gloria Akobundu, and all the staff of Outer NEPAD Nigeria, I want to thank all of you for taking our time to be with us here today. Please, before you go, there is lunch for us, so I will like all of you, just the way we did in the morning when we went for tea break. We'll all go to the back there and have our lunch, and we expect you back here tomorrow. So God bless you all. Thank you once again.
Excellencies, representatives of governors, the very special representative from the House of Representatives, we thank you, sir. And our AU Special Envoy on Food Systems, we thank you, sir. And of course, the distinguished senators who have remained here, including the Chairman, Senate Committee on NEPAD, and the Chairman, Senate Committee on Women Affairs, and all the distinguished personalities that are here. The vote of thanks has been delivered and has been very, very well delivered. It was a combo, in fact, very well delivered. We thank you for staying the time. The room has remained full until the end, and tomorrow we expect it to be bigger and better. We thank you very much indeed for joining us for this high-level strategic engagement on climate change, food systems, and resource mobilization. On behalf of the organizers, Outer NEPAD, would like to sincerely appreciate you and wish to see you tomorrow. My name is Eugenia Abu. It has been a pleasure to serve, and we've been working together with the irrepressible Dr. Emmanuel Abang. Thank you very much. We'd like to call on media now to stand by the national anthem. We started with our nation. We will close with our nation. Are we good? Thank you very much. Lunch is served, and so we would expect that people will follow through. The same way we had our tea break is the same way that lunch will be deployed this afternoon. Thank you for being part of this event. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.